In this lecture, we will discuss about an ongoing debate and controversy relating to special intensive revision of electoral rule in Bihar. So, to understand exactly what special intensive revision of electoral rule, it is a unique voter list verification process in India and its importance in ensuring accurate, fraud free elections through comprehensive voter validation. The process is still ongoing in Bihar with the first draft already published. So, exactly, the Election Commission of India has begun a special intensive revision of the state of Bihar's electoral rules 4 months prior to the Bihar state elections. The controversy behind this decision can now be heard even in the Parliament of India in the monsoon session of the Parliament. The special intensive revision effort is to ensure that no eligible citizen is left out while no ineligible person is included in the electoral roll. As per the notification, the new electoral roll will only be released after claims and objections have been resolved. The decided date for the release of the final electoral roll is set on September 30, 2025. The first phase of this drive has been completed by the Election Commission of India. The Election Commission of India has already published the first draft. The enumeration exercise started on July 1st, 2025. So, it was a very process. House to house enumeration is used to prepare new electoral rules as part of an extensive revision without consulting current rules. Enumerations visit each home to list eligible voters as of a qualifying date. This is carried out when the Election Commission of India concludes that the current rules need to be completely rebuilt or erroneous. This usually happens prior to significant elections or following administrative procedures like constituency delimitation. So the latest updates available regarding the special intensive revision of electoral rule in Bihar that we would like to examine. So on August 1st, 2025, after completing a month-long special intensive revision effort in preparation for the next assembly elections, the Election Commission has released the first draft electoral rules for Bihar on 1st August 2025. Additionally, this should initiate the claims and objections procedure, which would run until September 1, 2025, and allow voters to file complaints about names being wrongfully deleted to seek a redress from the relevant authorities. Approximately 65 lakh voters are expected to be removed from the list. So on August 11, 2025, the Supreme Court has been informed by the Election Commission of India that it is not required by law to compile or publish a separate list of the almost 6.5 million names that are not On Bihar's draft electoral rules are to provide an explanation for their exclusion. This reply was in response to a petition filed by an NGO, Association for Democratic Reform, and on August 18, 2025, the list of 65 lakh voters whose names were deleted from the Bihar draft electoral roll following the special intensive revision process was uploaded by the Indian Election Commission on August 1. The list of voters whose names were on the Bihar voter list through 2025 but were left off the draft roll has been posted on the office of the Chief Electoral Officer, Bihar's official website. People can check their names on the official website and share their grievances with the Election Commission of India. And on August 25, 2025, the Election Commission of India declared that the special intensive revision of Bihar electoral register is proceeding according to plan. According to the election board, in just 60 days, it got documents from 98.2% of the state's 7.2 crore voters. The remaining 1.8% of voters have 8 days to correct errors in the draft electoral rules released on August 1 and to provide the necessary paperwork that was missing during enumeration. According to the Election Commission of India, 1.64% of voters turn in paperwork every day. So, this is the latest up to date. Now is the very question why it is in news at present. The first page of special intensive revision of electoral law has finally been completed as announced by the Election Commission of India during the ongoing special intensive revision of electoral list. The Election Commission of India disclosed that more than 52.3 lakh voters in the state of Bihar, which is set to go to polls, could not be located at their registered locations. These 52.3 lakh cases or 6.62% of Bihar's total electorate of 7.89 crore fall under a number of categories including duplicate enrollments, permanently moved individuals, deceased voters, and those who are totally untraceable according to the data provided by the Election Commission of India. So, on July 10th, the Supreme Court recommended that Election Commission of India consider allowing Aadhaar, voter ID cards and ration card as legitimate documents for updating the rolls. The Supreme Court declined to stop the Election Commission of India from proceeding with its special intensive revision of the electoral roll in Bihar. The Election Commission's new requirements that even current voters, if enrolled after 2003, provide documentary proof to establish their date and or place of birth, which is then used to determine citizenship, has met with widespread political opposition and significant confusion on the ground in the state that is headed to the polls. So, the Election Commission of India will be updating the voter list of Bihar by following the given steps, and those steps are The first one, trained booth label officers will go to door and assist current voters. That is 4.89 crore in filling out enumeration forms. Additionally, the booth label officers will gather enumeration forms and provide recommendations on each one. And that submission was made by July 25, 2025. The boundaries of constituencies will be finalized and polling places will be rearranged as needed. There should ideally be no more than 1,200 voters in each polling station. A draft electoral roll was released on 1st August 2025 and electoral rolls will be up to date, updated in accordance with completed enumeration forms. Anyone with claims of or objections to the draft electoral rules may submit them between August 1 and September 1. A judgment regarding completed enumeration forms and submitted claims will be made by September 25. So on September 30, 2025, the database will be updated with the final electoral roll. According to the Election Commission of India, similar special intensive revisions were previously carried out in all or some regions of the nation for the purpose of preparing new electoral rolls in the year 1952 to 1956, 1957, then in 1961, and then in 1965, again in 1966. Further in the year 1983 and 84, then 1987 and 89, and 1992, 1993, 1995, then in 2002, 2003 and 2004, and the most recent special intensive revision in Bihar was carried out in 2003. Similar to the current drive, the special intensive revision was completed in 31 days without the use of modern technology. In 2005, the electoral rules were also updated in accordance with the usual cycle prior to the polls. The Bihar Election Commission eliminated people with non-bailable warrants who were included on the electoral rolls after discovering 70,000 duplicate names in Patna alone. The list of 65 lakh voters whose names were deleted from the Bihar draft electoral roll following the special intensive revision process was uploaded by the Indian Election Commission on August 1. The list of voters whose names were on the Bihar voter list for 2025 but were left of the draft roll has been posted on the office of the Chief Electoral Officer, Bihar's official website. So now we would like to discuss the very position and the up to date in case of Bihar, and that also why verification and updating the very procedure adopted by the Election Commission of India in regards to all other places and in other states and union territories in constituency wise throughout India, and that procedure we would like to discuss. So the update as provided by the Election Commission relating to verification and updating in India in the very forms of annual special revision and also relating to both level officers verification, draft rule and objections, verification and hearings, then final role publications and the very role of citizens in regards to their grievances, in particularly regarding verification and updating in India. So, in that context, we would like to discuss the very process that was adopted in consequence to. So, that very process adopted by the Election Commission of India and in particularly the roles played by the Election Commission of India in regards to annual and special revision and also in case of all these in regards to that also into some extent we have discussed the very position in relation to the history of updating voter list as it was carried out since 1950 to 56, then again in 1957, then in 1961, then in 1965, 1966. So, all these that we would like to discuss in the context, the very method adopted by the Election Commission of India in different forms, such as in particularly relating to annual and special revision of electoral roll through special intensive drive. So the update is done through special summary revision or special intensive revision, particularly prior to large-scale elections or with administrative changes such as new constituencies, boundaries, and besides that, the very second step that relate to both label officers and in particularly verification by the booth label officers. They go to door to verify and count voters. They visit every eligible person and pick up forms for new enrollments or changes going back to areas to cover migratory, ill, disabled, and vulnerable groups. The both label officers are actively engaged in schemes to facilitate the elderly, disabled, and others who might find it cumbersome to enroll. Then the very question relating to draft rule and the objections. So once enumeration is over, a draft electoral rule is published for each constituency. Citizens and political parties can verify whether their names has been listed accurately and make claims and objections about the inclusion, exclusion, or mistake. Special camps and online portals are open to allow objections or applications for correction. Then, in the fourth stage, that is leading to verification and hearings. So, in that context, each claim or objection is checked by the electoral registration officer occasionally with proof, either Aadhaar, voter ID, ration card, or citizenship evidence as recommended by the Supreme Court. Hearing are conducted for disputed entries appeals can be lodged up to the district magistrate or chief electoral officer. And finally, there would be a final rule of publication. So, following claims and amendments, the final electoral rule is brought out. Voting is only for those who found their name on this roll. So, in particularly in Bihar, for instance, over 90 lakh booth level officers carried out door-to-door verification. Over 1,65,000 corrections applications are received once the draft rule was released. The process is to identify duplicate, deceased, and migrated voters, and the final rule is due to published on September 30, 2025. And now the very question is relating to voter registration and correction and the very role of the citizens in context of special intensive revision of electoral roll. First time voters whose age are 18 years of age submit Form 6 online at both level offices or camps. Correction, deletion for change of address, death or mistake, necessitated forms and affidavits. Citizens are allowed to check their registration status on electoral portals, and the very requirement regarding that in relating to transparency and political participation. That is the most important requirement. Election Commission of India asks political parties to send booth level agents to observe and report anomalies during revision, allowing multi-party oversight of the updation process. All decisions, deletion, additions, and corrections are noted, and documents supporting the same are uploaded to Election Commission's in-house portal. So, the very debate that is going on at present in connection to that is relating to the vote theft debate, and in particularly the opposition parties allege certain bulk deletion and claimed errors target specific communities disproportionately, especially minorities, using recent Bihar and Karnataka exercise as an example, and in particular the leader of opposition in the House of People or Lok Sabha, Rahul Gandhi and other politicians claim duplicate or false entries, incorrect addresses, and bulk deletions to favor the ruling Bharatiya Janata Party, citing examples such as of Karnataka, where over 1 lakh purportedly invalid voters were tallied. Election Commission response to the allegation, which the Election Commission of India strongly refutes these allegations, seeking evidence or complaints. It claims all removals are done in accordance with law and has appeal mechanisms. The Commission emphasizes that the process is subject to multi-level checks, right of appeal, and active opposition participation through both label agents and public objections. So, comprehensive audits, public hearings, and transparency steps all designed to get each and every qualifying citizen on the rolls with strong rights of appeal against any deletion, political demonstration, and calls for extra time and openness with opposition parties leaders conducting demonstrations and seeking early review at the Supreme Court. Media and independent inquiries have discovered both actual errors, for example, deceased voters or incorrect photographs included, and no apparent religiously motivated deletions beyond a few districts. Integration of technology, the role of maintenance now includes online submissions, upload of digital documents, and cross validation through Aadhaar and other official records were allowed. Protection of vulnerable voters. Special precautions are required for elderly, disabled, and poor citizens to avoid involuntary erasures. So, this is all about the present ongoing special intensive revision of electoral roll in Bihar and the pending petition filed by the Association for Democratic Reforms in the Supreme Court and the very responses made by the Election Commission of India and the very procedure for verification and updating of the electoral roll through special intensive revision that made previously in those years that already we have discussed since 1952 to up to 2004 that we have discussed, and the very procedure mechanism adopted by the Election Commission of India in connection to verification and updating in India of the voters list and electoral roll through annual special revision, then the booth level officers verification, then the publication of draft roll and the claims and objection of those citizens or voters, then verification and hearing by the Election Commission of India through its electoral officers, then the publication of the final roll of the electoral roll that made through special intensive revision and the very role played by the citizen to bring out transparency and political participation. Then at present the ongoing debate relating to vote theft as it was alleged by the opposition leader in the House of People Lok Sabha, Mr. Rahul Gandhi, and the opposition leaders and the very march in regards to that the vote theft debate, in particular the political march and mobilization in the state of Bihar. This is at the present position of the special intensive revision of electoral roll in Bihar. So, the other developments in the future that would be within the 30th September 2025 as the final date of finishing of the special intensive revision of the electoral roll in Bihar and the very decision of the Supreme Court on the petition filed by the Association for Democratic Reforms that we would like to discuss in our next upcoming lecture after 30th September 2025.